They set it in the tone rich people use when they're bored and trying on cruelty like sunglasses. Spectators only. A white-gloved arm barred the tunnel. Kwame didn't slow. I'm the vet. Credentials. Before security could invent another gate, a woman cut through the corridor like a flag-slicing wind. "Let him through," said Lady Charlotte Fairchild, patron of the Fairchild Charity Polo Classic. "He's the vet." On the broadcast, a commentator tried to fold grief into eloquence. A tragic end to what was shaping up to be a brilliant chukker. The camera lingered on a bay pony trembling at the fetlock. Somewhere above the velvet hum of money, the crowd felt it. Something more important than their afternoon was about to happen. Kwame Mensah knew horses the way some people know languages. Enough to recognize a dialect, enough to hear a lie. Ghanaian British, equine vet, smiles like sunlight through leaves, hands that could reassemble a heart if it neighs. He slid under the work lights where grooms had spread clean towels in quiet panic. The pony's eye rolled white. A groom whispered, "Please." "Hey, love," Kwame murmured, kneeling. He checked pulse, corium heat, sensation. The pain was bright and wrong. Lady Charlotte crouched opposite, dress hem ignoring mud. "Tell me straight." Kwame glanced at the lateral pastern, then at the rival pony cantering past with an odd, glassy gait that didn't belong to pain or ease. "I need a UV lamp and swabs." Security bristled. Charlotte didn't look away. "Get him what he needs." On the rail, well-dressed guests discussed tragedy as though it were weather. A man in a linen blazer said, "Such a shame, but these animals are athletes. They're treated better than—" A woman who knew how to make a scene out of compassion cut him off. "Better than who?" Meanwhile, in the stall tunnel, a team manager stepped forward with lawyers wearing smiles that only cover teeth. "Doctor, you don't have jurisdiction over my string." "Charlotte, it does over this tournament, by my authority." "Your ladyship, surely we can resolve it. Resolve it with the truth, or with the marshal." The manager's eyes flicked to Kwame's kit. There it was, fear in a silk suit. UV light can be theatrical if you know where to point it. Kwame didn't perform. He worked. He traced the cannon bone, then the sesamoid, then paused at the pastern of a rival mount brought in for routine ice. The glow bloomed faint and mean, a halo where there had been a needle. Charlotte's brows knit. What is that? Kwame lifted the swab, gentle as apology. A residue that shouldn't be here. He kept his voice low, steadying the grooms as much as the pony. Nerve-blocking agents. They mute pain. They also mute warning signs, until a leg explodes. The groom nearest him flinched. Another started crying without sound. The team manager's lawyer found new teeth. "Allegations. You can't—" Kwame kept the swab. "Chain of custody begins now." He looked to Charlotte. "We need to suspend competition. If we don't, we invite catastrophe." On the loudspeakers, the commentator cleared his throat twice. "We're, experiencing a brief delay." Charlotte could have handled it backstage. She didn't. She walked to the center stripe and took the mic from the official like she was born to move weight without breaking. "Ladies and gentlemen," she said, voice carrying past pearls and cameras, "we will pause play. An equine welfare concern has arisen. We will not continue until it is resolved." A ripple of annoyance spread through the VIP gallery. A syndicate patron shook his head, muttered, "Such a shame, spectacle ruined." Kwame led the injured pony past the tunnel, hand on the halter, whispering in Twi without thinking. The animal's ear flicked toward the sound like a compass regaining north. The UV lamp and swabs went into evidence bags. A steward signed, palms damp. Charlotte met Kwame at midfield. The world felt like a coin held upright. She took his hand, not intimacy, not yet. Solidarity, public and unarguable. "Thank you, Dr. Mensah." The camera zoomed. Somewhere, a headline drafted itself without permission. The syndicate manager tried to seize the script. "This is outlandish. Our mounts are clean. This tournament exists because of our generosity." Charlotte didn't blink. "This tournament exists because of the horses and the charities they lift. Take a seat." Kwame addressed the officials, not the noise. "I'll submit to independent testing. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize on this field. If I'm right, we halt now and investigate all entries, every leg, every log." The word log stuck. The manager's calm cracked into a flinch. A groom stepped forward, voice shaking. "Miss, we've seen things. Pressure to keep them going." Charlotte's jaw tightened. "Not today." Under work lights, Kwame showed the quiet violence. Microabrasions in a pattern that said needle, not brush. A heat map that didn't match exertion, a telltale chemical smell masked with menthol. He spoke to the crowd without grandstanding. "Nerve blocks create a beautiful lie. Pain is data. When you cut the wire, bones don't know when to beg for mercy." Silence hit harder than booze. People adjusted their hearts. The steward returned from a back room, face pale with paperwork. "Preliminary confirms foreign agent." The manager sputtered something about sabotage, chain of custody, vendettas. Charlotte nodded once to security. "Escort the syndicate string off the grounds. Veterinarians will examine every remaining mount. Any refusal is withdrawal." It wasn't applause at first. It was the sound of people becoming braver than they were 5 minutes ago. Center field again. Charlotte lifted the mic. "Effective immediately. Transparent equine health logs, pre- and post-match, third-party verified, randomized swab tests under UV, whistleblower protections for grooms and riders, lifetime bans for deliberate cruelty. We raise funds for hospitals and schools with this tournament. We won't spend one animal to do it." Kwame watched her steadiness and thought, policy that walks. The broadcast scrambled for a narrative and found the only honest one. Match halted, welfare first. Sponsors considered press releases about values. The audience considered themselves. A little boy asked too loudly, "Are the ponies okay?" And 100 throats answered, "They will be." Back of house, a groom pressed a paper cup of water into Kwame's hand. "For you, Doc." "Thank you." Charlotte stepped in, hair undone by a breeze that didn't ask permission. "Dr. Mensah, Kwame, would you walk with me?" They walked the service lane, where money has to pass through work to become real. "You didn't flinch," she said. "You didn't either." She smiled, then didn't. "There will be calls, the kind with rings I can't hang up on." "Let them ring. Pain is data." There are looks that skip pages. This was one. "Coffee?" she asked, without cameras. "Tea," he said, "or I'll have to confess to my mother." They laughed like people who would, if they were lucky, to get to do this again, trading anger for precision, spectacle for mercy. A printer in the steward's office breathing out the first equine health log. A groom taping a copy to a tack trunk like a vow. A UV lamp catching nothing at all on a clean leg. The relief looks like prayer. Charlotte in a boardroom with old portraits on the walls saying, "We'll risk less money and more honesty." Kwame at a community stable teaching kids to listen with their hands. A news crawl, "Syndicate suspended pending investigation." A text from Charlotte, "Tea?" A reply from Kwame, "Always." The season closed gentler than it started. The charity tally climbed higher than the board hoped. People tipped grooms like gratitude had a currency exchange rate. On a quiet morning, not purchased by anyone, Charlotte stood by the rail of a small boat on a river that forgot last names. Kwame cut the motor and let the silence be louder than money. He told a story about an empty clinic once, how he said goodnight to every stall anyway, just in case someone needed to hear it. She told a story about ledgers and writing people's names like scripture. They agreed to be boring in the ways that keep you brave, and brave in the ways that keep you kind. At the next classic, the commentators knew better words. The UV lamp stayed bored. The log stayed honest. Mid-chucker, a pony stumbled, then corrected on its own. The crowd gasped, then breathed. Charlotte, in the owner's box, felt a pulse of fear and then the steadiness that follows a decision done right. She glanced toward the tunnel where a vet who trades anger for precision moved like calm in boots. On center field, a banner read, "Welfare first." No logos, no hashtags. Just policy that learned to walk.